This is the Outside Film Festival. Here's AliCarrTroxell.
Every year, the team at Mountainfilm sits down with a few of the festival's most fascinating guests. In these Minds of Mountainfilm interviews, we find out what drives these incredible people. Now we'll hear from Tim DeChristopher, who's leading the charge in a new generation of activism.
It's a pleasure to welcome you to Minds of Mountainfilm interviews. I'm sitting here with my main man, Tim DeChristopher. Welcome back to Telluride, Tim.
It's good to be back, as always.
Third time at the festival?
Yep.
Isn't this the best one yet? It must be
yeah.
the weirdest one yet.
Why is that?
We're in this very weird period in your life right now, in May of 2011.
I think I've been in a weird period of my life for the last few mountain films. I've been in that legal limbo the whole time.
But the limbo's a little different now.
Yeah, now I'm a convicted felon.
I don't think it's in quotes. I think it's, yeah, I guess it is, but you actually are a convicted felon. I'm sitting here with Tim DeChristopher, convicted felon.
There you go.
How's that ring? How's that sound?
I don't know. It doesn't really change my perspective that much. It's something that I've expected for a while. So.
And it just now feels more imminent.
Yeah.
I've heard you say that if just 10% of the Sierra Club membership was willing to get arrested, mountaintop removal would be shut down.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do we need to see that you think will seize people?
I think we need more than just making a statement. I think we need people making a stand where it's not like, oh, one day we're going to do this thing and then go back to our normal lives on Monday and then everything goes back to normal. I think we need waves of action that don't go away. That's one of the things that the civil rights movement had. They had that trust that no matter what happened to them, there'd be another wave of people coming in and sitting at that lunch counter, or there'd be another busload of people coming down on the freedom rides. And our movement hasn't really had that consistency of actions. We do one thing and that's it. And that's what I was talking about at the Power Shift conference with the students there, about having waves of people go onto mountaintop removal sites every day. And I was speaking to a room of 10,000 people there, and I said, just with the people in this room, we could have 30 people go onto a mountaintop removal site, shut it down for a while.
On Monday.
Start to clog up the legal system in West Virginia. 30 people the day after that, 30 people the day after that, and the day after that, and the day after that, every day for a year without anybody doing it twice.
Like the Freedom Riders did.
Yeah, and I don't think we'd ever get to that point of taking a year. Right. I think it would come to a crisis point before that, where our government officials had to make a choice between ending the war against Appalachia or waging it openly and admitting what it really is and just putting thousands of people in prison for fighting for a livable future. I think it would force Obama into a choice between ending mountaintop removal or bringing in federal troops to defend it.
In some ways, the way the civil rights marchers forced Kennedy.
Absolutely. Kennedy wasn't a natural civil rights advocate. He didn't want to get involved in that battle. They just created so much social tension that he had to choose a side. And he ended up coming down on the side of the activists. And I think there is some leadership in our government that if we actually forced them into a choice, they would come down on our side. For all my disappointment with Obama, I don't think he'd bring in federal troops to defend a mountaintop removal site. I think he'd end it before he did that.
There's noise and there's impact. There's, and I think it's a very tricky line to understand. And I know if you said, wait, we're going to go chain ourselves to the machinery of mountaintop removal, they can't remove mountains that day.
Right. Yeah.
And that's different than making noise in Congress. It's a blip. People get thrown out, and I always want to understand the impact that these things have. Do you look at that? How?
Yeah. And that's why I think it takes more waves, because when it is just that one little blip, it doesn't have a lot of impact. They got some attention on that day. There's kind of some debate about what impact they did have, because some other folks in the youth climate movement had a meeting scheduled later that day in the White House, and it was just supposed to be with kind of some low-level aides, and this was like 2.5 or 3 hours after they had disrupted Congress and been arrested. And unexpectedly, Barack Obama walked into that meeting and spent 20 minutes or so speaking to these other youth climate activists. So it does seem like it got some attention of folks and gained more access for other parts of their movement.
It's clear that your action, stopping the auction of oil and gas leases in Utah, had a real impact. That land is pristine. It wasn't going to be if you hadn't stopped that. Your legacy will certainly be that, but what else do you think? What else do you hope it will be?
I hope it'll be that it was a catalyst for others to engage in that sort of action, or just for others to be empowered. I think one of the things that I hope that it's accomplished, and that I've seen a bit of, is that it's triggered this public discourse about what our role as citizens should really be when our government is acting unjustly. And that's been a fairly vibrant discussion, and I think that has the power to lead to some big effects down the road.
Thanks for being on Minds of Mountain Film, Tim.
Yeah,
I appreciate it. It's great to have you back at the festival as always.
Yep, it's great to be
We
here.
may have to wait a little bit before you come back again, but
yeah,
we'll have you back.